During this week of Lent, we're called to listen attentively to God's voice. Just as Jesus spent 40 days in the desert fasting and praying, we too can find moments of silence and solitude to hear God's gentle whisper. Last Sunday's readings reminded us of the importance of following God's commands. Obedience is not merely about adhering to rules. It's about aligning our hearts with God's will. As we journey through Lent, let us reflect on how well we're attuned to God's voice and how faithfully we follow His guidance. In our interactions with others, especially within our families, we're encouraged to be compassionate and understanding. Struggles in relationships, whether with siblings or within marriage, can be challenging. Lent invites us to extend grace, seek reconciliation, and mend broken bonds. Jesus, as Christ showed love and forgiveness, we too can be instruments of healing in our relationships. Let us open our eyes to see Christ in unexpected places. Beggars on the side of the road may appear insignificant, and they may be an irritation, but they can carry the image of Christ. When we encounter them, let us not merely pass by, but pause and pray for them. This may be with them or just praying for them as you drive by. Our prayers can provide hope and transformation for those who feel forgotten or marginalized. As we approach the third week of Lent, we anticipate deeper reflections on repentance and conversation. This season invites us to turn away from our old ways and embrace the path of holiness. Let us prepare our hearts for the upcoming readings and meditate on the gift of God's mercy. In the Gospel of John, we encounter a powerful moment when Jesus cleansed the temple. This event took place during Passover festival, a time when pilgrims gathered in Jerusalem to worship and offer sacrifices. Let's delve into this significant incident and draw insights for our own spiritual journey. This may be seen as a radical act, but as Jesus entered the temple precincts, he was met with a scene that deeply troubled him. The outer court, known as the Court of the Gentiles, had been turned into a bustling marketplace. Money, changes exchanged, currency, and merchants sold animals for sacrifices. Instead of a place of reverence and prayer, the temple became a commercial hub of activity. Jesus' response was radical and decisive. He overturned the money changers' tables, scattering their coins, and rebuked those selling doves and other sacrificial animals. His words echoed with authority. "Take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of trade." In this moment, Jesus revealed his zeal for the holiness of God's dwelling place. This incident teaches us several essential lessons. First, it underscores the importance of listening to God's voice. Amid the noise of commerce and distraction, Jesus discerned the true purpose of the temple. Lent invites us to silence the clamor around us and attune our hearts to God's whispers. Are we attentive to His guidance, or do we drown out His voice with worldly concerns? Secondly, Jesus' actions align with the theme of following God's commands. The temple was meant to be a sacred space, a meeting point between God and humanity. By cleansing it, Jesus emphasized that obedience to God's will surpass any human tradition or convenience. Lent invites us to examine our lives. Are we faithfully following God's commands, or have we allowed worldly pursuits to overshadow our devotion? As we approach the third week of Lent, let us anticipate deeper reflections on repentance and conversion. May we prepare our hearts for a transformative encounter with God's mercy. May our Lenten journey be marked by a zeal for God's house, compassion in relationships, and eyes open in the presence of Christ in unexpected places.
Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the bell icon. You will be notified of future updates.